The moment the whispers started circulating through Hollywood corridors, one thing became painfully clear: the fairy tale partnership had quietly collapsed, and not with a polite goodbye, but with a corporate door slam that echoed all the way from Los Angeles to Buckingham Palace. Because behind the carefully polished statements and the soft public smiles, something explosive was happening, something uncomfortable, something that suddenly left one question hanging in the air. Did Netflix just fire Meghan Markle and walk away from her entire lifestyle empire? It began with a shift so subtle that many people almost missed it. No dramatic press conference, no glittering announcement, just a quiet but devastating revelation spreading through industry insiders like wildfire. Netflix had dumped Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand as ever. And the timing? Suspicious. The language? Carefully sanitized. But the meaning beneath it? Brutal. Because when a streaming giant worth billions suddenly backs away from a celebrity brand it once proudly promoted, people start asking dangerous questions. What went wrong? What collapsed behind the scenes? And why did a deal that once looked like a royal jackpot suddenly feel like a business nightmare?
Netflix has officially cut ties with Meghan Markle's polarizing lifestyle brand as ever, in a fresh blow to the Duchess's ambitions for the company. Kinsey, the streaming service has issued a statement as artificially soothing as Markle's voice on her two-season show with Love Meghan. But there's no other way to spin it, is there? She and Harry have been a massive disappointment for Netflix.
The official explanation sounded calm, almost soothing, but read between the lines and the message becomes unmistakable. Netflix no longer wanted any association with the project because the partnership had failed to produce the results they originally expected. That single sentence carried a quiet sting because expectations had once been enormous. The platform had signed Meghan and Prince Harry to a staggering deal reportedly worth around $100 million. A deal meant to produce documentaries, scripted shows, films, and children's programming. A royal content empire. But instead of blockbuster success, the reality looked far less glamorous. Slowly, project after project failed to ignite the cultural explosion Netflix had envisioned. And now, the lifestyle brand that was supposed to strengthen Meghan's business identity had become the latest disappointment. But the real mystery deepens when you look at the strategy that was supposed to make everything work. The idea was simple, elegant even. Meghan's show with Love, Meghan would subtly showcase the products from her lifestyle brand. Viewers watching her cook, decorate, and create would naturally want to buy the same items. A classic celebrity branding move, emotional connection turning into consumer demand. Except something strange happened along the way. The audience didn't follow the script.
Sources told Page Six the return on investment simply wasn't there. The show was a significant disappointment to the streamer, and with the product line being an extension of With Love Meghan, it makes absolutely no sense to maintain this working relationship.
On paper, it was clever marketing. In reality, it started unraveling almost immediately. The show and the brand were supposed to launch together, feeding off each other's momentum. But that coordination never truly happened. Instead of a synchronized explosion of attention, the two projects drifted apart like ships missing each other in the fog. The show struggled to generate strong engagement, and without that spark, the brand itself never caught fire. Momentum stalled, excitement faded, and suddenly whispers began circulating about something far more embarrassing: products sitting unsold.
They were kicking off her product launch, which was all very messy to begin with. Who releases a show without having tangible products you can purchase right there ready to go? I mean, they shouldn't have released the show at all until the products were available for sale. All of it was messy.
Imagine this scene for a moment. A room inside Netflix facilities reportedly stacked with jars of jam, candles, dried flowers, the signature items of the As Ever brand. Boxes and boxes quietly gathering dust while employees occasionally took products home simply to clear space. Not exactly the glamorous lifestyle empire that had been promised. And the stories didn't stop there. Reports claimed warehouses were filled with massive amounts of unsold merchandise, hundreds of thousands of units that never reached eager customers. During the Christmas season, no less, the one time of year lifestyle brands normally explode with demand. Instead, shelves remained full. And suddenly, the dream of a celebrity brand empire started looking dangerously fragile. Then came another layer of confusion, because publicly, the separation was framed very differently. According to some reports, Meghan herself chose to step away. The explanation suggested she wanted full control over the brand and didn't want a giant corporation influencing her decisions. A bold declaration of independence. A powerful businesswoman reclaiming her vision. But critics immediately noticed the timing felt convenient.
Much that they bought it all. Now, apparently there are two whole storage rooms of product from Meghan Markle's new As Ever brand. So the candles, the jam, all of it.
Because stepping away for creative control sounds very different from being quietly dropped after disappointing sales. And the products themselves only fueled more skepticism. One candle reportedly priced at $64, but without a wick. A candle that couldn't actually be lit, decorative only. A detail so strange that critics seized on it immediately, treating it as a symbol of the entire brand. Expensive, confusing, and disconnected from everyday buyers. And that's when the conversation turned from awkward to brutal. And as the dust from that quiet corporate breakup continued to settle, another uncomfortable reality started surfacing in Hollywood boardrooms. Netflix hadn't just backed away from a brand, it had begun questioning the entire business equation surrounding Meghan Markle. Because when a company pours millions into a partnership and the numbers don't follow, executives don't simply shrug and move on. They analyze, they calculate, and eventually they cut their losses. That's exactly what many insiders believe happened here. The problem wasn't just unsold candles or jars of jam. The problem was something much bigger and much more dangerous for a celebrity brand. The gap between attention and loyalty. Meghan Markle generates enormous headlines. Every move she makes sparks discussion, debate, outrage, fascination. But attention alone doesn't translate into customers opening their wallets. And Netflix, after years of waiting for a profitable breakthrough from its massive deal with Meghan and Prince Harry, may have finally reached a blunt conclusion: the hype simply wasn't turning into revenue.
When I opened the box, when I got back, there's no wick again. No way to light this thing. Seriously, look.
Even the products themselves became part of the controversy. Take the wine tied to the lifestyle brand. Reports suggested the bottle was priced around $30, a price point that might work for a premium celebrity product if the product looked extraordinary. But critics quickly pointed out something awkward. The bottle appeared strikingly similar to wines available at ordinary grocery stores for a fraction of the price. And once that comparison started circulating online, the perception problem exploded. Because once consumers start questioning whether a product is worth its price, hesitation spreads like wildfire. Suddenly, the brand doesn't feel aspirational anymore. It feels overpriced. Then came the number that made industry insiders raise their eyebrows: an alleged warehouse inventory of more than 500,000 unsold items sitting during the Christmas season. 572,000 products reportedly sitting on shelves during the most profitable shopping period of the year. That single detail turned what had once looked like a glamorous entrepreneurial venture into something closer to a cautionary tale. Because lifestyle brands survive on repeat purchases and loyal fans. Without those two ingredients, even the most famous name can't keep a product moving off the shelves. And suddenly, Netflix executives faced a decision: continue pouring time, marketing, and money into a venture that hadn't yet proven itself, or quietly step away before the losses grew even larger. For corporations, that decision is rarely emotional. It's mathematical. Cold numbers on a spreadsheet. And according to analysts watching the situation unfold, those numbers likely told a painful story. Some industry voices didn't hold back when describing the breakup. Reputation expert Eric Schiffer called it something far harsher than a routine business decision. In his view, the split represented what he described as celebrity brand suicide in a cashmere apron. A brutal phrase, but one that captured the growing skepticism around Meghan's commercial appeal. Because within Hollywood circles, people had started asking a question that once seemed unthinkable: does Meghan Markle actually have a loyal consumer audience? That question matters far more than online popularity. Plenty of celebrities generate attention, but only a handful can turn that attention into successful products. Look at figures like Dolly Parton, whose brand stretches across music, entertainment, and consumer goods because audiences genuinely adore her. Or Brad Pitt, who launched wine ventures that thrive largely because his long-standing reputation draws fans willing to buy into the experience. These brands succeed not because the celebrity is famous, but because people trust them. And that's where Meghan's situation becomes complicated. Much of the public conversation surrounding her revolves around controversy rather than admiration. Royal drama, media battles, polarizing headlines. That kind of attention generates clicks and debate, but it doesn't necessarily build the emotional loyalty needed to sustain a lifestyle empire. Which brings us to the next move in this unfolding saga. Because even as Netflix quietly stepped away, Meghan and Prince Harry were reportedly exploring ways strategies to rebuild their public image and regain momentum. One idea being discussed involved a return to Australia, the country where their 2018 royal tour once generated massive enthusiasm. Back then, crowds gathered in huge numbers, cheering the couple as they represented the monarchy abroad. But the world of 2026 is not the world of 2018. Public opinion has shifted dramatically in many places, including Australia. Polling in recent years has suggested that the couple's popularity has declined sharply compared to the early days of their royal marriage, which means a return trip could produce a very different reaction. Instead of enthusiastic celebration, the visit might provoke curiosity, confusion, or even criticism. At the same time, Meghan is reportedly planning appearances on female-focused podcasts and commercial events, opportunities to speak about her ideas, promote projects, and reconnect with audiences. On paper, it's a familiar strategy used by many celebrities rebuilding their public brands. Visibility creates conversation. Conversation can create interest. And interest, if everything aligns perfectly, can eventually rebuild consumer demand. But rebuilding trust in the marketplace is never simple, especially when the narrative surrounding a brand has already turned skeptical. Because once a partnership like Netflix walks away, it leaves a lingering shadow. Industry insiders notice, investors notice, consumers notice, and every future venture inevitably faces the same quiet question: if Netflix couldn't make it work, who can? That's the uncomfortable mystery still hovering over the entire situation. Was this merely a temporary setback for Meghan Markle's lifestyle ambitions, or was it the moment the celebrity brand dream quietly collapsed behind the scenes? Right now, the answers remain frustratingly unclear. The products still exist. The brand name still exists. The ambitions almost certainly still exist. But the streaming giant that once helped build the dream is gone. And in Hollywood, silence after a breakup like that can sometimes be louder than any announcement.